You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
Imagine a world where you're always one step ahead of cyber threats, where your defenses are impenetrable because you see what others don't. Welcome to Team Cymru's Threat Intelligence Solutions. With real-time access to the world's largest threat intelligence data ocean, they enable you to turn the tables on attackers. Transform your security from reactive to proactive through accelerated threat hunting and incident response, made possible through automation. Empower your team with visibility and insights to start defending your organization like never before. Team Cymru. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Learn more at team-cymru.com/cyberwire. That's team-cymru.com/cyberwire. The FBI kicks MooBot out of small business routers. Sensitive data has been stolen from a state government network. AMC proposes a multi-million-dollar settlement after improperly sharing subscribers' viewing habits. The U.S. targets an Iranian military ship in the Red Sea with a cyber attack. Lawmakers propose transparency in the use of algorithms in criminal trials. CERT-EU highlights a spear phishing spike. An infamous Zeus and Iced ID operator pleads guilty. Our guests are Dr. Josh Brunty, head coach, and Brad Wolfenden, program director of U.S. Cyber Games, joining us to share the details of how their 2024 season is shaping up. And AI comes to video. It's Friday, February 16th, 2024. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Happy Friday to you, and thank you for joining us here today. On Thursday, the FBI announced the disruption of a Russian GRU-led hacking campaign, Operation Dying Ember, which compromised over 1,000 home and small office routers worldwide for cyber espionage. This operation, conducted with international partners, successfully expelled the hackers and prevented their re-entry by identifying and eliminating MooBot malware from the infected routers. The GRU utilized these routers for extensive spear phishing campaigns targeting entities of interest to the Russian government, including U.S. and foreign governments, military, and corporate organizations. This initiative is part of the Justice Department's increased efforts to counteract Russian cyber activities against the U.S. and its allies. This announcement follows a similar FBI operation against Chinese government-sponsored hackers targeting U.S. infrastructure, highlighting the FBI's ongoing efforts to dismantle malicious cyber operations and safeguard national and allied security. CISA and the MS-ISAC have reported a cybersecurity breach where an unidentified group infiltrated a state government's network, stealing sensitive data. At this point, neither the state nor the group have been identified. The data was later found for sale on the dark web, traced back to a compromised account of a former employee. Using CISA's Untitled Goose tool, it was discovered that the attackers exploited credentials from the former employee and SharePoint to access on-premises and Azure AD systems, also conducting LDAP queries for further information. The agencies recommend enhancing security by reviewing administrator accounts and implementing multi-factor authentication. Meanwhile, CISA has added a vulnerability affecting Cisco's ASA and FTD security products to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog due to its exploitation by the Akira ransomware group. This flaw, identified back in 2020, allows unauthorized remote access to sensitive device memory data, including credentials, via the AnyConnect SSL VPN feature. Despite Cisco's patch in 2020, Recent TrueSec investigations reveal its active exploitation in ransomware attacks. CISA mandates government agencies to patch this vulnerability by March 7th and strongly advises all organizations to secure their systems against this exploit to prevent unauthorized access and data breaches. Streaming media provider AMC has proposed an $8.3 million settlement for sharing 6 million subscribers' viewing histories from its streaming services with tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, violating 1988's Video Privacy Protection Act, the VPPA. AMC's use of tracking technologies like the metapixel enabled the linkage of personal information with viewing data. Despite denying wrongdoing, AMC seeks to settle to avoid litigation uncertainties, with a hearing set for May 16th. The settlement includes altering tracking practices and offers affected subscribers a 1-week free subscription. The Video Privacy Protection Act, by the way, is designed to protect the privacy of individuals' video rental and purchase records. The law was a direct response to the privacy concerns raised during the confirmation hearings of Judge Robert Bork for the U.S. Supreme Court, when a newspaper published his video rental history. Under the VPPA, videotape service providers and now streaming services are prohibited from knowingly disclosing, without the consumer's written consent, information about the specific videos an individual rents or purchases, or about their personal information to third parties. Despite dating back to the 80s, the VPPA is considered one of the stronger laws in the U.S. aimed at protecting consumer privacy, particularly in the context of entertainment and media consumption. NBC News reports that the U.S. executed a cyber attack on an Iranian military ship in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. The ship was said to be gathering intelligence for attacks on cargo vessels. This cyber operation came in response to an Iranian-backed militia drone strike in Iraq, killing 3 U.S. service members, and aimed to disrupt the ship's capability to aid Houthi rebels in Yemen. The Houthis have targeted shipping lanes, affected global shipping, and prompting companies to halt operations in these waters. The U.S. action follows airstrikes in Iraq and Syria and forms a broader strategy against Iranian aggression. Despite denials from Iran regarding the ship's role, the U.S. continues to counter threats in the region. Democratic Representatives Mark Takano and Dwight Evans have reintroduced the Justice in Forensic Algorithms Act, aiming to increase transparency in the use of algorithms within criminal trials. This legislation would grant defendants access to the source code of software analyzing evidence against them and mandates the National Institute of Standards and Technology to establish testing standards for forensic algorithms. The initiative addresses concerns over human bias in software, especially in facial recognition technology, and the potential for technology to be viewed as infallible in legal contexts. Highlighting the importance of due process over proprietary rights, the bill seeks to ensure that defendants and their attorneys can scrutinize the technology that could impact the outcomes of criminal proceedings. Representative Takano says he's optimistic about bipartisan support due to shared concerns over law enforcement's surveillance powers. A report from CERT EU finds that in 2023, EU-based organizations experienced a significant increase in spear phishing attacks, particularly exploiting EU political and diplomatic events. These attacks were notably linked to the EU's political processes for the first time in such a concentrated period, utilizing lures related to EU affairs and policies, including documents and information related to specific EU bodies and events. China-backed threat group Mustang Panda has been identified as a perpetrator since at least 2022. Attackers targeted individuals and organizations involved with the EU, often impersonating EU staff or public administration members from EU countries, to increase the credibility of their phishing attempts. The diplomacy, defense, and transport sectors outside public administration were particularly targeted, with attackers also diversifying their methods to include instant messaging and social media platforms. This escalation of spear phishing activities poses a significant threat, especially with the upcoming EU elections in May of 2024. Vyacheslav Penkukov, a 37-year-old from Donetsk, Ukraine, pleaded guilty for his significant role in the Zeus and Iced ID malware attacks, which led to massive financial threats from victims worldwide. Arrested in Switzerland in 2022 and extradited to the U.S. in 2023, Penshukov's crimes spanned from stealing bank account details via Zeus since 2009 to collaborating using the Iced ID malware from 2018 to 2021, which also facilitated ransomware attacks. His criminal activities, which notably included an attack on Vermont Medical Center, resulted in extensive damages and led to his placement on the FBI's Cyber Most Wanted list. Penchikov faces sentencing on May 9th, with each charge potentially carrying a maximum of 20 years in prison. Coming up after the break, my conversation with Dr. Josh Brunty and Brad Wolfenden from U.S. Cyber Games. They're going to update us on how their 2024 season is shaping up. Stay with us. This episode is brought to you by Palo Alto Networks, the leader in cybersecurity. As AI-driven attacks increase, organizations can't afford to have network security that's stuck in the past. Discover how Palo Alto Networks can help you predict what's coming and proactively secure against it with a zero-trust, AI-powered network security platform built to secure whatever, whenever, wherever. To learn more, visit paloaltonetworks.com/network security platform. Struggling to secure on-prem apps with modern identity? Don't worry, you're not alone. Join industry leaders from Fortune 500 organizations to secure your apps on any cloud with any IDP, regardless of your environment's complexity. Meet Strata's identity orchestration platform, Mavericks. Say goodbye to the headaches of app refactoring and legacy tech debt. With identity orchestration, you can modernize legacy apps to use MFA or passwordless authentication in a few weeks, migrate from one IDP to another, and so much more without changing the app. No matter your IAM use case, Strata extends the value of your current identity investments. And the best part? You can try it for free today. Visit strata.io/cyberwire to share your biggest identity challenge, and they'll hook you up with a complimentary pair of AirPods Pro. Don't miss out. Visit strata.io/cyberwire. That's strata.io/cyberwire. It is my pleasure to be joined here today by Dr. Josh Brunty. He is the head coach for the U.S. Cyber Games. Also joining us is Brad Wolfenden. He's the program director for U.S. Cyber Games. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Brad, let me start with you here. For folks who aren't familiar with the U.S. Cyber Games, can you give us a little description of what the organization is all about?
Yeah, certainly. So the U.S. Cyber Games was founded about 4 years ago, 2019, with the ultimate goal to recruit and train a team of young cyber professionals, we call them athletes, cyber athletes, to compete at international competitions. We were founded in collaboration with the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education and received some additional federal funding from Department of Homeland Security. And our mission is to bring together talented industry professionals, young athletes, corporate sponsors, and partners to deliver on our values.
And what are those values?
First and foremost, it's representing the United States wearing the red, white, and blue into international competition. Second is to drive some new and different approaches into cybersecurity workforce development. And third is to collaborate with some of our international partners on a global scale in really kind of bringing more folks into the world of cyber and encouraging them to consider careers in the field.
So, Dr. Brunty, as head coach of the team this year, what are your expectations here? What are you hoping to see from this collection of athletes?
Well, first and foremost, we're trying to produce a team that competes well at the international level. That's at two major competitions that we're preparing for. The International Cybersecurity Competition, which will be this October in Santiago, Chile, and the European Cybersecurity Competition, which will be held in Italy that same month. So those are our two major competitions that we're focused on, that we're preparing for. But more importantly than that, we also want to prepare during that time through having our team compete in stateside capture the flag and attack defense competitions as preparation for that. So to answer your question of what we're looking for and what we're trying to achieve there competitively, is to be the best team that we possibly can in the world. And we do that through continuous competition. You'll see us pop up in a lot of different CTFs. We'll be playing a CTF coming up here Friday night. We'll be doing competition prep this weekend. So it really has a lot to do with just playing as much as we possibly can, as any sports team would. We are constantly looking to gain the competitive edge through our experience in competitions.
Can you give us an idea of what makes a good team? Are there a variety of skills that you're looking for to have a diversity of knowledge and thought processes?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we're looking for when we pick our team is we try to mix it across 6 different domains, and that is across cryptography, forensics, reverse engineering, pwn and binary exploitation, web, and just what we call a miscellaneous category. So, and that can include hardware challenges that we may see pop up that may not fall across those original 5 categories. So when we choose, we're looking for individuals that might be strong in forensics and reverse engineering, because a lot of those items that we see in the workplace may be cross-cutting in terms of knowledge base. But we're also looking for individuals that will that know how to think outside the box, that carry a different mindset. So I think different than in years past, when we were picking our team this go around for season 3, we wanted to have individuals that, or at least when I was looking, that really would ask the right questions to think themselves out of the box. And I've been really happy with the results that we've seen so far in our successes, even early on in the season.
Brad, can you share with us what are some of the eligibility requirements here? What does it take to become a team member?
In order to participate in the U.S. Cyber Games program past the original phase of seasons, and one thing that I will mention is one of the aspects of the program that's pretty unique and different is our approach in terms of fusing esports, athletics, and cybersecurity competitions. And so I'll reference many things. I talked about athletes earlier and now seasons. The first phase of the season is the U.S. Cyber Open. It is free and available to anyone and everyone, regardless of age, regardless of citizenship status. Due to the fact that we receive federal funding, we are not able to allow participation from the sanctioned countries as determined by the federal government here in the U.S. And once we move into the more competitive aspects of the season that become invite only, starting with what we call the U.S. Cyber Combine, there are 2 eligibility requirements that are set forth by the rules and regulation of one of the competitions Josh mentioned, the International Cybersecurity Competition. So we are looking for athletes that are 15 to 25 years old. And then the other requirement is that they must be a U.S. citizen, either born U.S. citizen or naturalized U.S. citizen.
You've used the word athletes several times here. Do you find that sometimes folks react to that with raised eyebrows?
I do, actually, yeah. I would say kind of one of our sub values of the program is to define a cyber athlete. It's a little bit of a newer term. I've seen lots of other competitions start to kind of adopt that term as well. And the term comes from the fact that, what Josh and the athletes are doing from a training perspective very much mirrors what you typically think of out of athletes. Not just the determination and the focus, but qualities like leadership and sportsmanship, massively important when we're talking U.S. Cyber Games. Of course, availability and things like that. But then we get further into it, and as Josh mentioned, in terms of the training approach, really kind of catering to those 5 categories, you even start to see athletes here with the U.S. Cyber Games program take on roles or quote unquote positions. Whether that's somebody that is really kind of the go-to expert for a category like cryptography, or somebody that is building and leveraging custom tools, those kinds of things. So the term cyber athletes, while it is newer, and sometimes folks do raise their eyebrows, I think it's gaining some pretty solid traction.
Josh, as you work with these athletes, the team that you have this year, beyond the goals of winning the prize and bringing it home for our nation, what do you hope that the participants get out of this in terms of their own growth?
Well, I mean, one of the things, as Brad had mentioned, with the whole program as a whole, is we're teaching skills that transfer directly into the workplace. So this is not just something that we're doing for fun. These are individuals that are either already working in the workplace that are closer to that 25-year-old range, or they're newer participants that are closer to the 15 to 18-year-old. So I think our overall goal, obviously, is to field a competitive team, but in the same token, we're teaching them skills that's going to make them very valuable in the workplace. And this is why, as we kind of move deeper into this program, and Brad has talked about this a little bit, we have sponsorships, and we're starting to gain the eyes of sponsors to say, hey, our athletes are very valuable to us because they carry skill that no one else has. And that's really, at the end of the day, as a coach, if you produce individuals that carry enough skill that workplaces and government agencies and contractors and vendors look at your individuals that you've trained and say, wow, I want to hire that person. I think that overall is to me is more important and more valuable than winning a simple competition, in a sense.
Brad, how do folks find out more? If they're interested in participating here, what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah, great question. So we will be hosting an upcoming webinar, all informational regarding Season 4, which is just around the corner. The first of 2 webinars introducing Season 4 will happen on February 22nd, and there will be another one in May. The Season 4 timeline begins on May 30th, and that's with our virtual kickoff event. And then subsequently, the following day, we will open what we call the U.S. Cyber Open. It's a 10-day long capture the flag competition. You can learn more at uscybergames.com.
All right. Well, Brad Wolfenden is program director, and Dr. Josh Brunty is head coach of U.S. Cyber Games. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Hey, everybody, I want to take a few minutes here and talk about our sponsor, Splunk. You need to keep operations humming around the clock, but potential disruptions are everywhere. Splunk helps you predict problems and find and fix issues fast so you can reduce risk and ditch downtime. The world's largest enterprises rely on Splunk's unified security and observability platform to become more efficient, resilient, and innovative. With Splunk, you can react quickly, evolve faster, and be ready for anything. Stay ahead of disruptions. Learn more at splunk.com/resilience.
Taste the Mediterranean through March 19th at Whole Foods Market. Save on animal welfare certified bone and beef short ribs, sustainable wild-caught sockeye salmon, and more. Find sales on Parmigiano Reggiano, charcuterie and ground lamb. Grab an olive boule bread from the bakery. Plus, wines from the Mediterranean start at just $8.99. Taste the Mediterranean now at Whole Foods Market. Must be 21 plus. Please drink responsibly.
And finally, having seen generative AI applied to written content and still images, it was only a matter of time before these rapidly evolving tools would be applied to video. Yesterday, OpenAI introduced Sora, a new text-to-video generation model capable of creating realistic videos up to 1 minute long from text prompts. Sora excels in generating complex scenes with accurate details, multiple characters, and various motions, and can generate videos from still images or enhance existing videos. Despite its impressive capabilities, Sora may face challenges with complex scene physics and cause and effect relationships. The demo videos they've posted are simultaneously impressive and a little unsettling. Currently, access is limited to red teamers for assessing potential risks and a select group of visual artists, designers, and filmmakers for feedback. I have a couple of thoughts. First, I would hate to be in the stock footage business right now. Second, this particular genie is not going back in the bottle and could contribute to making what is sure to be a wild election year even more chaotic. And lastly, I can't help thinking of that old chestnut from Arthur C. Clarke, that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Do check out the videos and let us know what you think. And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. A programming note, we will not be publishing on Monday, February 19th, in observance of Washington's birthday here in the U.S. We'll have some great bonus content for you to check out on Monday, and we'll be back on the mic Tuesday. We want to thank you for being part of our N2K CyberWire community. Just by listening, you're staying ahead in cybersecurity with our podcast. Share your thoughts at cyberwire@n2k.com and be a part of shaping a daily briefing that's trusted by leaders and security experts worldwide. With each episode, feel better informed, connected, and empowered in the ever-evolving world of cybersecurity. Your insights make us better. Together, we're not just informed, we're a step ahead. And that's a great feeling to share. And please do share with your colleagues and online. Help us spread the word and continue to provide you with the news, intelligence, and insights you count on. Be sure to check out this weekend's Research Saturday and my conversation with Ori David, a threat researcher from Akamai. We're sharing their research, Frog for Shell. Fritz Frog botnet adds 1 days to its arsenal. That's Research Saturday. Check it out. N2K Strategic Workforce Intelligence optimizes the value of your biggest investment, your people. We make you smarter about your team while making your team smarter. Learn more at n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Trey Hester, with original music by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producers are Jennifer Iben and Brandon Karp. Our executive editor is Peter Kilpie, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week. This episode is made possible in part by RSA Conference, where the world talks security. Through global events and year-round content, RSAC connects you to cybersecurity leaders and cutting-edge ideas for a safer, more secure future. Learn more at rsaconference.com/cyberwire23.